Deputy Speaker, there was an article on the ABC News website this morning. The dark triad sums up psychopaths, but the light triad defines saints. And the dark triad, for those members who aren't aware, is the personality traits, and it consists of three negative traits: the tendency to manipulate others, otherwise known as Machiavellianism; the tendency to seek admiration and special treatment, known as narcissism; and the tendency to be callous and insensitive, otherwise known as psychopathy. Conversely, the good triad is known by its characteristics of Kantianism, and that's when we treat people as a means to themselves rather than as a means to an end. Basically, we're not out to use them. It's pretty much the opposite of Machiavellianism and is based on the German philosopher Immanuel Kant. The second attribute, humanism, valuing the dignity and worth of each individual person. And the third, faith in humanity, and that's when we believe people are fundamentally good. And I had a look at this article this morning, and I have the article here if members are interested. I had a look at this article this morning and I thought, what would be the attributes, what would be the light triad of economic management? And I found an excellent example in the budget that the Treasurer delivered last week. Because when I think of the dark triad of economic management, I think of profligacy, I think of thoughtlessness or indifference, and I think of parochialism and pandering to sectional interests. But then when I think of the light triad, I think of frugalness and restraint, attention to detail, intellectual and thoughtful, and I think of sharing the benefits and sharing the burdens. And I see that what the Treasurer has done with this budget epitomises what I would consider as the light triad. But being good economic managers is not an end in and of itself. Being good economic managers means we can pay down debt and save $500 million on interest repayments. Being good economic managers means we can invest in the services and infrastructure of the state, and being good economic managers means we can insulate ourselves from global volatility and shocks. As the government's financial position improves over the next couple of years, we need to look at whether and how we can increase wages for our hardworking public servants, our teachers, nurses, police, ambulance officers, firefighters and prison officers. We need to continue our investment in job-creating, congestion-busting infrastructure that by its construction will fuel the economy, will fuel economic growth and will oil the wheels of the economy. And we need to look at the revenue side as well. We need to look at ways in which we can develop sufficient headroom in our financial balance sheet in order to look at reducing the payroll tax burden on our small business community. And when I see the excellent steps that the Treasurer has already taken to reform payroll tax to encourage greater apprenticeships and greater traineeships, you can see that this is a government that is attuned ever so sensitively to the needs of small business in Western Australia. And that brings to mind that light trait of sharing the burdens and sharing the benefits. Unfortunately, the burden that this Treasurer is forced to bear is one that was accumulated over 8.5 years of the former government. And we've heard a lot. We've had fantastic contributions from the backbenchers on the government side, all of whom have spoken articulately, with clarity and alacrity, who have spoken passionately and in an informed basis about all of the benefits that their electorates, their constituencies, will get from this budget. But you can also see, so you can see, because of the contributions that have been made, that the whole of Western Australia will share the benefits. And I just wanted to, I've taken my time to promote some of these benefits that will be shared throughout Western Australia, because the government of Western Australia, the McGowan Labor government, is not just about looking after the Labor seats, although it has done that exceptionally well. Can I commend the member for Pilbara for his excellent advocacy on behalf of his constituents in securing funding from the government? Can I commend the Minister for Sport and Senior Citizens, the member for Collie-Preston, for his excellent advocacy? But every one of the McGowan Labor government backbenchers has worked hard with the Treasurer and hard with the government to identify those issues that are of greatest concern to their constituents, and to have worked hard in order to try and find the way in which they can address those concerns. So in my own electorate of Mount Lawley, the people at Mount Lawley Senior High School were, in the lead up to the 2017 state election, concerned about significant increases in enrolment, and they were concerned about enrolment pressures on all of the public schools throughout the western suburbs. And so rather than focusing on investing in one of our Labor electorates, we in fact decided to build the inner-city college in the electorate of the member for Nedlands. That's a $70 million investment, but that doesn't just benefit the people of the seat of Nedlands. It has a benefit for the people of the seat of Perth. It has a fantastic benefit for my constituents in the electorate of Mount Lawley. And you can see, just with that one example, Deputy Speaker, that this McGowan government will not pander to sectional interests. This is a government that, as well as sharing the burden of repairing the fiscal mess that was left to us by the wreckers on the other side with their incapacity for managing the economy, will share the benefits as those benefits flow through. We are investing in school maintenance. We are upgrading Royal Perth Hospital in the member for Perth's electorate. This is a $22.7 million project. Now, a significant proportion of the Mount Lawley electorate accesses the Royal Perth Hospital as they are in the East Metropolitan District. Another significant proportion accesses to Charles Gardner Hospital, and many people in my electorate also access the Osborne Park Hospital, and so it's good to see investments in our health infrastructure across all of those institutes. We are investing in a new mental health unit in Fremantle, and I don't criticise that. I don't condemn that. I in fact say that's a fantastic investment, because I know that this Treasurer and I know that this Minister for Health have already invested in mental health in Mount Lawley with the mental health unit at St John of God in Mount Lawley. And can I say that the investment at the Mental Health Emergency Department at St John of God Midland will only serve to make the investment in Mount Lawley even better, because the people in Mount Lawley will also have access, the people at St John of God Mount Lawley will also have access to that St John of God Midland Emergency Mental Health Department. We're expanding palliative care services. We are boosting PCYCs. We are taking action on meth. $42.5 million towards our meth action plan. This is an investment, Deputy Speaker, that doesn't just benefit the people of Murray-Wellington, doesn't just benefit the people of Dawesville, doesn't just benefit the people of Girraween, but benefits all of Western Australia, because this is a government that governs for all of Western Australia. You heard the passionate response from the Minister for Culture and the Arts last night at the end of private members' business to scurrilous accusations about the way in which this government was only focused on the inner city, and that passionate defence and that poetic description of the bucolic upbringing that he experienced, that romantic notion that he brought forward into this chamber was a perfect example of his passion and commitment to not just the people of his own neighbourhood, not just the people of Mandurah, who continually re-elect him year after year with increased margins, but of his commitment, and it's emblematic, I would say, Deputy Speaker, of the commitment of the entire government to the whole of Western Australia. Now, we are powering remote communities. We are growing WA aquaculture. We are making it easier for more WA families to buy their own first home. We are investing in Aboriginal tourism. We are diversifying the economy, and we are creating the jobs of the future, because as we improve the economy, it gives us the capacity and the ability to do those things that are so important to Labor governments. We are delivering health services. This government is demonstrating that the state can improve services while maintaining sound financial management. $216.7 million allocated for hospital services, including $21.5 million for small rural hospitals and nursing posts. And it's a shame that there's, with the exception of the member for Murray-Wellington on the government benches, we don't have any members from the National Party here, except they've got other business in the Parliament. Expenditure on hospital services increases to $6.7 billion in 1920 and will be growing at an average annual rate of 3.5% across the next 3 years. There's the $22.7 million investment to refurbish the 24-bed intensive care unit at Royal Perth Hospital. Once again, Deputy Speaker, I am so pleased to see that this McGowan Labor government is committed to preserving and enhancing Royal Perth Hospital, something that couldn't be said for our predecessors. The McGowan Labor government is also spending $94.2 million invested into mental health, alcohol and other drug services, and this is expected to grow to over $1 billion in 22-23. When I listened to some of the contributions from members in this chamber about mental health and just how profoundly it affects the lives of everyday Western Australians, I couldn't help be moved, and I couldn't help be grateful to the fact that we've got a Treasurer with his triad of light of economic management, who has the money now available to spend $1 billion on mental health services. A mental health emergency centre at the St John of God Midland Hospital I've already spoken about. That's another $5 million. This one is especially important to me because I think we need to be focusing on diversifying the economy and creating the jobs of the future. $52 million, Deputy Speaker, to the Future Health Research and Innovation Fund. There is nothing more important as we see our health budget grow and as we see the outstanding work that the Minister for Health is doing with his Sustainable Health Review. There is nothing more important than identifying ways in which we can take advantage of those brilliant, bright medical researchers in the Western Australian community who are at the cutting edge of technological and medical developments, taking advantage of those minds, those best and brightest minds, investing with them strategically, leveraging that with medical innovation and commercialisation. And you'll only see this increase as a focus of the McGowan Labor government over the next couple of years. And I implore the people of Western Australia to get on board with this agenda because it will make a difference in people's lives genuinely. The National Collaborative Research Infrastructure. Now, another thing that I've spoken about often in this place, Deputy Speaker, is our creative industries. There is nothing more important to the Minister for Culture and the Arts than our creative industries, and he knows what an important role they will play in the jobs of the future. The community of the electorate of Mount Lawley is well known as supporters of the arts, whether it's visual arts, music, theatre or creative industries like gaming and filmmaking. The McGowan Government is finding ways to support creative communities to drive projects that deliver both beauty and economic sustainability. Even in the inner-city areas of Yokine and Mount Lawley, our community feels a strong affinity for rural and regional Western Australia, which is why we support initiatives like the Aboriginal Ranger Program and now the Regional Arts and Culture Investment Program. I've spoken before, Deputy Speaker, about our investment in the Contemporary Music Fund, $3 million, providing opportunities for music artists and enabling safer and more vibrant venues. This will considerably improve the economic and social output of the contemporary music industry. Our Regional Arts Culture and Investment Program of $20 million over 4 years. The $8 million commitment to the Regional Exhibition Touring Boost for visual arts. A state of creativity, strengthening Aboriginal arts, empowered and employed communities. But on Tuesday, the Minister announced a new virtual reality festival taking place later this year as part of Revelation Perth International Film Festival. What a fantastic initiative. Titled XRWA, the festival will present public and industry events that explore virtual and augmented reality, artificial intelligence, computer animations and other forms of screen-based and immersive media. XRWA will provide an opportunity for participants to witness the latest innovative technologies. Minister, this is cutting edge. This is a government that's got a vision for the future. This is a government that's got a vision for the future. A vision for the future. The industry component of the festival program will attract a broad range of local and international delegates to explore new ideas and experience local content from West Australia's growing, immersive and interactive media sector. WA is incredibly lucky to have this fantastic virtual reality talent. Can I give a quick shout out to V Prendergast at Stirfire Studios, who recently received the International Access Pass Superstar Award through our Game Industry Growth Pilot Program. WA is also home to innovative virtual reality businesses and individuals like Justin McArdles, Frame VR, Brendan De Silva of Virtual Guest, and Dr. Kate Rains-Goldie, who have contributed on the XRWA advisory panel. The McGowan Government's support of this festival and the industry shows that we are future-focused and capitalising on this growth and supporting its emergence in Western Australia. Jobs of the future, Minister, and I commend you for it. But jobs of today as well. And I return, members, to the comments that I made supporting the Treasurer for his amendments to the payroll tax exemption scheme to promote apprenticeships. Because the last thing we want to see in an era of fiscal responsibility is people exploiting loopholes. If the employer incentive scheme is to work appropriately, it needs to be targeted and it needs to be directed. Out of $182 million for the new employer incentive scheme, $45 million will go to regional WA, once again demonstrating that this government governs for the whole of Western Australia. The scheme will be funded through the redirection of payroll tax once legislation is passed to remove the remaining payroll tax exemption for trainees. The payroll tax exemption for apprentices will be retained. Now, under the employer incentive scheme, businesses will receive a base payment of $8,500 for employing an apprentice or new entrant trainee. It's estimated the scheme will extend state government support to nearly 6,000 businesses. Members, let there be no doubt anymore. The party of small business is the party of government, and it's the Labor Party. Together with the Construction Training Fund, the new scheme will extend support to employers in all industries who take on apprentices and trainees. In addition to the 6,000 new businesses, there are already 2,600 businesses that currently benefit from the payroll tax exemption. There is no question, members, that when the McGowan Labor government was elected in 2017, we faced an enormous task to remedy the fiscal recklessness of our predecessors. Thankfully, we have in our Treasurer a person who understands the good triad of economic management, who understands the necessity of frugalness and restraint, who understands the importance of attention to detail, a budget that is intellectual, a budget that is thoughtful, a budget that doesn't have all of the flawed assumptions of the previous government that led us down that path of debt and deficit disasters. We have a Treasurer who understands the importance of not just sharing the burdens, but also sharing the benefits. And I look forward to the bright uplands as we move into a future of better financial management where we can afford to do the things for the people of Western Australia that they deserve. I commend the Treasurer's budget.